couple of weeks ago, I was on a plane and I was headed to Dallas. A gentleman 2 seats up from me, he starts to have a heart attack. And so everybody kind of starts shuffling around, switching seats. And the pilot comes over the intercom and he says, "I'm sure you all are aware of what's transpiring and happening." And he said, because the gentleman is having a heart attack, we have to make an emergency landing. And people were peed off. And I'm like, man, God's about to die. I get it. People got things to do, places to be, and people to see. I get it. But somebody's life is on the line here. Is that what we've gotten to as a society, to where a destination is more important than another individual's life? We say, hey, how you doing? But we don't really mean, hey, how you doing? So they were moaning and groaning, not about the guy having a heart attack and he's fighting for his life. They were moaning and groaning because where they were going, they couldn't get there in the manner and the fashion of which they wanted to get there. And I think more times than not in life, people treat God like a Santa Claus. And then when they don't get the gifts that they thought they were going to get, that's a problem. I'm a firm believer that God redirects and maneuvers us when he has us on a mission. And I think true courage is the ability to embrace what we don't understand. Because I know anybody can accept and embrace something that they do understand, but I think true courage is when you find yourself in the midst of an opposition, but you still have a certain level of perspective to say, even though I don't like it, I can still trust God, even though I can't trace God.
Everything that's happening to you is God is processing. And if you need to be tough when you get to where you're going, then he gonna toughen you. See, the route you on right now is the route you got to take. You just gotta understand you ain't the only one.
Because if you just keep on walking with God, God has a way of making everything all right.
I wonder if you're upset about something now, that later on you're going to realize it had to happen to get you to your destiny. It wasn't fair, but God used it to connect the dots. You can't see what God is up to, but later on you're going to understand. A disappointment today, a betrayal, you may not see how that works out for your good until years down the road.
My prayer has always been, Lord, don't give me more than I can handle. You know how to bless me. Teach me patience with the process. And I learned respect for the process. I learned that the race is not given to the swift, but to him that endureth to the end. I learned as cars shot past me, pulled around me when I was driving, only to meet me at the red light. I learned that speed for a moment doesn't really mean progress. When I finally got up there and saw that you still had to stop, I found out the race is not given to the swift nor the war to the strong. I learned to pace myself. And I learned that when you get in a curve, you gotta slow down. Go through the process. God has ordered steps. It helps me to understand that I am not wandering aimlessly, that there is a course for me to take, that there is a path for me to trod, that God isn't making this thing up as he goes.
What's interesting is every time we got close to the end, all of a sudden that piece that I was so sure was a mistake would fit perfectly into place. You may have some pieces in your life that don't make sense. Why did that person walk out of a relationship? By itself, that piece doesn't fit. You have to wait for the other pieces to come together. God is in the process of connecting the dots in your life. Trust him when the piece doesn't make sense. When God designed a plan for your life, he didn't accidentally put in a wrong piece. He didn't leave something out. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Everything is serving his plan. He never said, you're going to understand everything. It's all going to make sense. He said, my ways are not your ways. You have to trust him when you don't understand. God is working behind the scenes in your life right now. This is not the time to be discouraged. This is the time to stir your faith up.